Well, this anime series was sort of surprising because I wasn't expecting much, especially a movie beloved as the Gremlins, and you expect something good for Spielberg's sort of kind of IP because let's face it, it's sort of hard to replicate Spielberg's work because he has that sort of magical theater experience, but that sort of honesty that's sort of hard to describe. That everybody keep describing Spielberg as sort of a very entertaining, more kind of fun type of director doing his films. That they have that sort of fun, sort of pure, honest type of storytelling. It sounds weird how to describe it, but it's the best way to describe his sort of technique of film. To translate to that to a anime series, especially to Gremlins, it's hard to do. Especially you realize this one actually has continuity. But honestly, you don't need to know the other two films to enjoy it because the people who was chosen to make this anime series understood what was the Gremlins. That sort of kind of magical kind of feeling being child, but also be sort of realistic. And that's the best way to describe the films. Transfer that to an anime series, a prequel that it actually works so well. It's one of those that I'm sort of surprised they did not decide this to make an animated movie instead of a series because this feels like an animated movie. It feels it should be in theaters. How well made and attached together. How the camera rose to the characters and telling the story of the mogwa. It's just that impressive. Especially the story of these two episodes. Especially you follow a character called Sam who actually helps his parents to actually take care of his sort of medical store with a grandfather who is sort of retired, but you cannot trust the grandfather because he lies too much. You don't know when he's telling the truth or making things up in the moment. But ironically, Sam's grandfather, how the best describe him, he's basically Uncle Stan from Gravity Falls, but much older. He can't really move that much. But it's one of the things that's sort of interesting that Sam is happy with his life, happy with his parents, happy with his grandfather, happy with the situation. He has everything planned till the what might reappear, specifically a Gizmo. But I love it. The very beginning of this first episode, it do show you where how Gizmo reappear of his own sort of clan, the sort of secret mountain that Gizmo lived with everybody. But unfortunately, because it's sort of a forest in the mountain, they were being hunted down by a huge eagle. It's a huge bird, leave it like that. And he was sort of captured so he can actually be eaten, but he got escaped. But the only problem is he was sort of recaptured again by the circus folk. But I love it they explained this so well a few seconds. You never really get lost. But even that, you do feel the danger of Gizmo that he can easily be eaten, stolen, or being abused. And this is sort of the magic of Spielberg that they give you that sort of whimsical, that sort of high adventure, but they always tap you in the back. It's like, yeah, don't remember, he is kind of far high. He easily fall and die. And that's sort of a sense of fear and adventure that's so well balanced. You're just like, whoa. But that's at least the first part. Like the first episode is that sort of dangerous adventure, exploring and understanding, breaking down the grandfather and his son sort of relationship, and he tried to basically convince his grandfather, not reverse, his grandfather trying to convince his grandson Sam, to be a little bit more risk taking, have some fun, be believed, especially magic, because none of them believe magic exists except for the grandfather. It's sort of kind of like a mini mystery to you. Later on, finally found a Gizmo in the circus, and Sam's trying to believe magic exists, except for his grandfather that he does believe magic exists, but he knows the true story of the Gremlins, and he's sort of freaking out, and he decided to steal Gizmo from the circus because he knows. And that's sort of how the whole episode just kick started. That sort of he knows, and we know as the audience that we sort of freaking out what to do with this gremlin. Yeah, I love it that he sort of understands Gizmo is not dangerous. It's his second generation is dangerous, and that's sort of tempted to explain his grandson and his daughter and his father-in-law. This thing is dangerous. We had to get rid of it, not kill it, just move it where he belongs. But unfortunately, when a gremlin reappears, someone always want the gremlins because they're very powerful, especially what he actually can do. And now this is the other half of the episode two, make this so interesting. The villain, Mr. Green. Mr. Green, wow, he feels some of the 80s or 70s type of villain, but he's not incompetent. He's not a Samurai cartoon villain. He is basically a bit sophisticated, very powerful, very dangerous villain. It's one of those villains that he just steps in a building, looks at you, he knows who you are, who you do, what kind of BS you into. He knows everything, and he just sort of plays with you. Like he has that sort of kind of respect, but he just pick you down to the floor, understanding what you be next move. He also show you how dangerous Mr. Green really is. Like his magic feels from the 70s. That sort of, if you've seen some old 80s or 70s magic movies that they use like lightning, cheap lightning, and their bones reappear again. They use that sort of same sort of 80s sort of magic. To this, it is very effective. You understand how dangerous Mr. Green is. You feel the power he has, especially how sophisticated and creepy he really is. That the first, what was it? I think the first episode, no, the second episode, that he eats someone. They made him sort of like a crystal ball, and he just kind of like a readjusts his jaw, pushing him down, and just swallowing it. And that's sort of disturbing, but they don't show it. They just show it the shadows just to confirm how dangerous and how hench he really is. But at the same time, he's very approachable, especially his kind of left hand. And somebody said, you mean your right hand? No, he's left. It's for a reason why he calls people his left hand, because he does sort of horrible things, so you would do horrible things too. But once more, that sort of self-aware honesty that make this two-part episode just so good. It's just so interesting because when the grandfather of Sam knows, he's trying to convince everybody to run, go to this secret area to give this a creature back home. But he's sort of being honest. This thing could be dangerous if you don't understand the rules or anything. I think one of the best describe it when the honesty storytelling is why the right hand man or left hand man of Green portray him is because she is afraid of him, and you understand that. It doesn't need to tell you step by step. It just say, really, you think I didn't portray this guy just because I'm scared of him? And that's just so cinematic. And that's the best to describe the whole two episodes. It's just so amazing. Of course, I could feel some people get a little bored watching this two episode because it doesn't have a lot of comedy. This is a adventure, kind of semi-comedy. You do have jokes in between. It's just, your mouth just drop of the cinematic feel, staging, the animation, especially the animation, because the animation in the very beginning, I said I did not enjoy first. When I finally see what they actually can do, especially the shading. God, the shading is just so good. You feel, understand the lighting and the weight of the characters. Visual designs, I was sort of iffy, but it just works so well. It's just so mwah. Now I can't say much, just one thing. You've seen the first two episodes. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Tell me down below. Let me know. I got nothing else to say. Just thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Bye.